just so you know, all of our kayaks are transparent, right? So they're completely see-through. We put neon lights in the bottom of them so they glow at night, right? During the neon night experience.
Hi, I'm Reed Singh, and this is Adventure Travel with Trip Outside, a podcast where we interview adventurers, local guides, and outdoor industry experts to uncover the best travel spots and human-powered adventures from around the globe. Before we jump in, I have a quick favor to ask you that if you enjoy the show, please leave us a review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It would truly mean a lot. Thank you guys for being on, Brooke and Santi from Clear View Kayaks in Miami, Florida. I really love what you guys are doing, and thanks for joining me today.
Definitely.
Thank you for having us.
So I'm absolutely in love with what you guys are doing because Miami is a place that I've always loved to visit, and it's such a great city with its Art Deco culture and stuff, and party scene and hotels. But I think what gets missed in that is the amazing, incredible outdoors that it's surrounded by. And before the city was there, it was such an incredible swampland and natural environment. So for you guys to really put that focus back on the natural environments in that city is something that's really, really great. And I'm really excited to have you guys talk about, what got you started and how you decided to start the business in Miami and start doing kayak rentals and tours.
Definitely. I would say that we both had somewhat of a nature upbringing, and we moved to the city, as you said. It has a high emphasis on sort of partying and city life, and we also do have a hospitality background. So we've definitely done the whole city thing, and I think eventually, once you're like running the restaurants, clubs, and boats, whatever, eventually you're like, wait a minute, there's this beautiful canal just kind of hidden in the heart of the city. Or wait a minute, like I never seen these little sea urchins or these little creatures. And so we saw lots of outdoor activity from where we're from, the place we're from, but we started seeking out all the little hidden routes, kayaking routes, or little hidden islands and gems that are right here in the city where we are.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Santi.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly like Brooke said. When we both grew up in, I guess you could say, smaller towns. What mainly drew us to the city of Miami was obviously the energy. We were a lot younger, club scene, party scene, this and that, and then you realize later on that there's a whole city within this city. The locals know about it. The locals are paddleboarding all the waterways, and the environmentalists all know about it because they're cleaning up everything. But like you said, with the whole, we realized that we were missing out on the true, environment of Miami, what it originally was, which is um, Everglades, and like you said, the waterways of the Biscayne Bay, all that. But nowadays you kind of have to go kind of far away. So like 45 minutes to an hour to even get to an actual legitimate Everglades. So with what we do, we're pretty much showing people a different side of Miami. I mean, we keep it real, like we keep it fun. We do offer like champagne and all that. We have a Miami vibe to it, but there is definitely that outdoor element that we offer that people wouldn't necessarily have thought about or even knew existed in the city.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think it's nice to keep it light. And, for someone that's visiting, that's maybe not even into the nature, but still wants to get our energy out by working out or just seeing the city from a different angle that most people probably don't get to see is I saw some pictures of paddleboarding through canals and on top of that at night, and talk about seeing nightlife in a way that nobody's out there seeing. And I love that you guys are able to offer that. So what was that journey like? You guys, what were you doing before? How did you meet? What got you guys inspired to get in on this together and start offering rentals and tours and all the amazing things that you guys offer today?
We moved here. We didn't know each other. We both moved to Miami about 12 years ago, and we ended up working at the same hotel, and we just got to know each other there, started chatting, and close friends ever since. And I don't know, we were just doing our thing, working hospitality, and we always wanted to create, we always wanted to make something of our own so we can fully feel passion for it and use our hospitality background. So I guess
we were like ideas guys all the time. Like we would always throw ideas at each other, and for years, but we were just comfortable, you know. And one day we just said, you know, hey, put, let's get an idea in the city that we live in. Yeah, we love partying. Yes, we love Miami. Yes, we whatever. But on our deeper friendship talks, you know, we had environmental passions as well. We had, you know, just different concepts about the world and you know how things should be run, and like it's and more focused on environmentalism. So we said, well, why don't we do something that marries both of those: our passion for Miami, our passion for fun, our passion for cool things, you know, high energy things, but also being environmentally conscious and being outdoors and actually getting your hands, exposing your skin to the sun and touching the salt water and, you know, getting your hands a little dirty, sweating, you know, just being more natural at the same time. Why can't you do both? So that's pretty much was a lot of the inspiration for it, and we just started moving forward. You know,
That's
and we
incredible.
started.
That's nice. That sounds like you really connected with uh, your true self in that process of not just trying to create something better that already exists, but offer something brand new that you really truly aligned with. Because it's just so much easier to keep going with that, even when things are not working out. That's amazing. So, you guys decided to like get some kayaks and start running tours, or did you go down like a path of figuring out what permits you need, or how long did it take you to get started after you're like, yes, we're doing this?
we definitely jumped and got the kayak. We had a bit of a we jumped the kayak, and then we started searching on our own for what route would make so much sense for other people to experience. Um, Once we found it, we just jumped right into it, and then later all the permit stuff hit us.
Yeah,
um, but we eventually, of course, figured all that out, and things are going a lot smoother now. Um,
yeah. When he says we had a plan, we had no plan. We had zero plan, but it was just one of those things like, let's just jump into it. You know, if we wait any longer, we're gonna, you know, we're never gonna get it done. So let's just see what happens. But like you said, we start even. I mean, yeah, of course we had kind of a makeshift plan, but it was a complete mess in the beginning. But we knew we had a goal. You know what I mean? And we knew we were motivated, and we knew we had ambition, and we had a vision. So you know, once we just jumped, we were able to put all of those missing pieces together to create, you know, the business that we have now, which is much more structured, very much, you know, much more planned out. We have all of our permits and all the insurances and everything, you know, all the logistical stuff that you need to operate. But definitely in the beginning, it was just about jumping off the cliff with no parachute, just make it happen.
That's awesome. I'm glad you didn't let the analysis paralysis keep you from starting sooner, and I'm actually glad you got the permits thing figured out before. Hopefully, you didn't get hit with any crazy fines or anything. So, what are some of the things that people miss about Miami? Talk to us about the outdoor places that you either take people through in your tours, or what people can go out there and explore on their own. Are these canals? Is this open water? Where are you guys located? And what can someone expect to go experience with Clear View Kayak?
Yeah, so when people visit Miami Beach, or actually when I meet these people, I ask, um, when did you arrive in Miami Beach? What have you done so far? And some people are very active and they'll go all over Miami. But a lot of people, they just say, oh, pretty much the beach, pretty much Ocean Drive, the beach, crawling from the beach to the bar to the beach, which is actually something you should definitely do in Miami. That's what Miami Beach is famous for. But there's a lot more to do. So um, we wanted to take something that's right under your nose. We took a historic canal that's right here in Miami Beach, and we want people to get out on the water. We want people to get active. When you're active, you have a sense of accomplishment afterwards. And this waterway that we take people on, we have like a fun, exciting route where we're paddling in a manatee zone, We passed mangroves. We're able to speak about how the mangrove ecosystem works. We'll see iguanas. We'll see blue herons. Down in the water below, you can see pufferfish and stingray, all kinds of little fish. And so it's just something that's right behind, like right in the heart of Miami Beach, which you wouldn't normally discover on your own. So we want to take people into those places.
That's amazing. And how do they? I imagine most people are pretty surprised when they go out there and see these things, like right in the heart of the city.
Yeah, people are very surprised because, in general, and that's just what Brooke was describing, is just what we do. But in general, the tone of the tourists and the travelers is just partying. You know what I mean? So they don't realize that, with what Brooke was describing, our canal and all of the and Indian Creek and all the creatures and animals that are in the waterway. Outside of that, they don't realize different things like Key Biscayne, or there's another waterway called Manatee Bend. We have we have a bunch of islands in the Biscayne Bay. The picnic island. Where people hang out, and they don't see these things. They're just thinking about jet skis, yachts, and VIP. So at a club, it's not bad. It's just we want to be a part of waking people up to, hey, go do all that, but also look what we're offering. It still has a cool vibe. You can learn a little bit about nature and then interact with nature as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be your whole trip. And I love what you're saying is like, go do that, because that's the great part about Miami, and you can't find that anywhere else in the world either. The best music, the best places, the beach. But you could take a 2-hour rental or tour. And just to put that in perspective too, like cost effective wise, what is an average like 2-hour rental for you guys run?
So like we have a couple of different things. If they just want to go and rent an actual kayak on their own, that's going to be 45 for 1 hour, and it fits up to 2 people. Our experiences are the main thing that people look for. So we have something called Neon Nights. Neon Nights includes your tour guide. It includes all the equipment. We do a champagne toast. We have snacks. Usually groups of about 10. And just so you know, all of our kayaks are transparent, right? So they're completely see-through. We put neon lights in the bottom of them so they glow at night, right? During the Neon Night experience. And that one's $69 per person. And that one lasts about 2 to 2.5 hours. Just music, it's a vibe. People see that's the fun side, right? The neon lights, the music, and all that. But we've seen dolphin out there. We see fish because the fish are attracted to the lights. Obviously we see all sorts of herons and different birds out there when we go. So they still get exposed to it. And it's just funny to see people's reactions because they're thinking, oh, neon lights and this kayak, everything's gonna be cool and calm. They don't expect to see a fish just literally flop out of the water next to them,
Wow.
or see, just different things, or even the paddling sometimes surprises them. I'm like, look, guys, this is the outdoors. Yeah, we're having fun, but you're gonna work a little bit. You're gonna have an invigorating experience. You're gonna get in touch with nature a little bit, and you're gonna have some really cool pictures for Instagram because you're in a glow in the dark, basically, a glowing kayak.
Right. I think I'm guilty of not having to explore this side of Miami before myself. So hopefully everyone else is feeling just as inspired having you talk about the way you describe it. I can just see the passion in you, even that every time you go out there, you're finding this to be a cool experience and something amazing is happening. And I was just trying to put that in perspective of like, okay, $69, you've spent 2 or 3 hours going to do this activity, and that's cost of, a couple of drinks in Miami. So just taking some time, maybe not your whole trip or your part of the trip, and trying something outdoors. If nothing else, there's a lot of people that are missing their regular routine of exercising, working out while they're on vacation. And this is a way to try to kind of balance that out. So when you're on your vacation, you can still be active. You can still get a light workout or a heavy workout, whatever you want, and then go back to exploring and see the place a different way. What are some other outdoor things to do in Miami that you guys either like to do or other people can go explore along with kayaking and paddling?
Some of the main things that you'll hear you should do right off the bat are going to the Everglades. They have fan boats, and they'll take you to the Everglades, and it's a really unique um, type of nature. You'll see alligators. You might see alligator nest where the mother is protecting the babies, um, and just all the unique wildlife that you see kind of in that marsh environment. Um, Another popular destination is John Penn Camp in Key Largo. It's great for scuba diving and snorkeling, glass bottom boat. That's actually one of the largest living coral reefs um, in the USA.
Oh, really?
And
Cool.
yeah, that's definitely good to see. It's just about an hour and a half drive from Miami.
Yeah,
Got it.
and go ahead.
Go ahead, Santi. Go ahead, Santi.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people don't realize like right outside of the hustle and bustle of South Beach and Brickell, which is like our financial district in downtown, we have Virginia Key and Key Biscayne, Crandon Park. These are about 20 minutes away or 25 minutes in an Uber driving away, and you get quiet, pristine beaches. You know, these parks are like a little bit away from the hustle and bustle without you having to drive super, super far. There's pathways that you can walk through and see like uh, all the different vegetation, you know, the mangroves and palm trees and different things like that. Um, but these parks, a lot of people ask me, like, is there somewhere I can go where it's quieter? Somewhere I want to go to a beach, but I don't want to hear, you know, reggaeton ringing in my ears. Like, yeah, go to Crandon Park, go to Key Biscayne, you know, go to Virginia Key. People can, whoever's listening can look those things up and they can say, oh, wow, this is something off the beaten path a little bit without getting too far away from the city if I'm visiting or too far away from my hotel.
Virginia, Key Biscayne is actually also great for cycling. Whether you want to do like a long distance road bike, there's a huge bridge that you go over with great views, and then they have really wide bike paths that go all the way down to the bottom. And there's actually a park, Billbag Park. It's a lighthouse at the bottom, and you actually have a view of Stiltsville, which has a lot of history of prohibition in Miami. Another cool thing, instead of road biking, they also have like a off-road bike path. So it has these different curves and little jumps and everything, which is another fun thing to do down in Key Biscayne.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
It's very much a paddleboard community out here too. People love paddleboarding.
That's true.
You see so many people just early crack of dawn, you know, going out. I mean, we're completely surrounded by water. You have water access from everywhere you turn. So, you know, whether you live in a high rise, whether you have a house, apartment, whatever it is, nearby, you know, if you're in the main metropolitan area, you're gonna have access to water. So people go out early in the morning, paddleboarding. You'll see sometimes 10, 15 people. Sometimes people are going alone. But paddleboarding is really popular out here because of all the access to water we have.
Oh, that's amazing. And I bet it provides like really great views too, especially when you're paddling around those backwaters and going through neighborhoods
The
almost.
sunset here is amazing. The sunset
Yeah.
on the Biscayne Bay, it's stunning. I mean, oranges and purples and pinks. The gold, like the epitome of the golden hour. That light across the bay is just beautiful.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm feeling pumped, and hopefully everybody listening is just ready to come explore this, either in Miami or maybe you live in Charleston or somewhere there's waterways, and you haven't thought about exploring your own city by kayak or water or biking. And Brooke, thanks for going into all the amazing things to do nearby. And I think there might be like a cool kite surfing scene too. I've seen some maybe some pictures and videos of Miami kite surfing and kiteboarding. Is that also in the South Beach area?
Yep, that's true. There's a couple places. There's a couple places in Miami Beach and in Virginia, Key Biscayne. Sorry, I keep saying Virginia Key because that's also in Key Biscayne. But there's a couple places where the wind kind of hit. 30th and Collins on the beach, and also down on First and Ocean. And then in Key Biscayne, there's a sort of a beach area there where there's a lot of wind as well.
Got it. That's super cool.
Yeah, and you know, California, the West Coast is all about surfing. We have the, you know, kite surfing. You know, that's what we do. There's so much wind here, especially during hurricane season. You see just literally hundreds of people out on the beach, just windsurfing, kiteboarding, and all that. But yeah, that's our South Florida equivalent to the surfing culture in California.
Yeah, and then when the wave is not there, but the wind is there, it's so much of a wind sport, and I didn't really realize that until I met some friends that have some friends that are big into kiteboarding. That I always thought was like a water sport, but it's so obviously makes sense. It's a wind sport. So what's your busiest time of year? Are you guys running all year round? Or are you seasonal? Or uh, what's a good time to come visit? When are the crowds at their peak versus like a great time to visit that people don't realize?
Yeah, our busiest time of year is pretty much right now between February and March. Um, it it's pretty much the spring breakers that are traveling. Overall, though, the season is, you would say, what, November until April, right? That's when we get the most business. But a lot of it's concentrated in February and March, the months of February and March. And like I said, there's a lot of spring breakers, a lot of travelers, people on vacation in that time of the year. It's the winter for the Northerners, so they come down to Florida. Um, yeah, that's our busiest time.
Got it. And even in the summer, the great thing is that you're kayaking, and I'm sure you could get out and swim and cool off in the water. So it's nice to have access to the water when it's as hot as it is in Miami in the summer. And I've been there.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So I was gonna touch on our island experience and like how we got into that.
Perfect timing. I really wanted to, I saw on your website that you guys have adopted an island, and I was going to shift through to the conservation piece and all the work that you guys are doing to uh, conserve the natural environment that you have there. So please take over.
Yeah, definitely. So that was one of the main things that we wanted to make a part of the culture of Clear View Kayaks was some sort of environmental element to it. Um, Mainly because when we first started exploring the islands here in the Biscayne Bay and in the local area, we just noticed there was a lot of trash, washed up trash from partiers, different things like that. And we just started realizing, like, hey, organically, we need to just start cleaning this up or making some sort of awareness. And there are, other organizations here in Miami, a lot of them that clean up and do their part. But we wanted to do our thing, so we started getting into starting a nonprofit. We were calling the local city, authorities to see how we could get involved, and then we got directly connected with the Biscayne Bay Aquatic Preserve, and we adopted an island in the bay. We adopted Frigate Island, it's called, and basically it just requires us to set up a cleanup of that island once every quarter and document every piece of trash that we pick up. We input it into their database system, and then they send it off to the labs and do whatever research they do with it. But that's really made us feel really great to be a part of it. We have our name on the island, and our next step with that is to just see if we can get more people involved in it, in the cleanup, and not even just on the Frigate Island, but in general, in our canal, up the Indian Creek, on the Collins Canal, and things like that. But it's definitely a start to something a lot bigger that we're getting into.
We were going to the islands daily and sometimes multiple times per day. And just instinctively, of course, we'll pick up glass, we'll pick up trash that we see. We want the island to look good for our guests. But we noticed that we have a unique responsibility because we're actually on the islands every day. A lot of the pickup and the trash cleanup initiatives, they typically clean up around the shoreline or in a park. So we had a unique advantage that we reached the islands daily, and so we realized that we could really spearhead that initiative. Actually, it ended up being really useful to the Biscayne Bay Aquatic Preserve because they have people who analyze the debris on the islands, because the tide comes up, it brings some debris to the islands, and tide goes back down and leaves it there. In addition to people who go to the island and might leave something. But analyzing the debris that we find helps them to determine the source of the debris and maybe go after stopping that debris from ending up on the island.
That's amazing. I absolutely love what you guys are doing, and that's cool that you're helping another organization through this process, so it has a larger impact, so they can identify the largest polluters or the challenges that are causing the most of the problem, and
Exactly.
collaborate with them. And as someone that also loves doing cleanups, it just feels so great for yourself when you're done with that. Even if you just pick up one little corner of a beach or one little part of a canal, if you're not, we feel like we're doing it for the environment, but I personally feel that deep down, it's really something that we do for ourselves, because we end up selfishly feeling better about ourselves, having purpose and giving some uh, value to our life, that when we're done, we kick the bucket, that we did a couple things right.
Absolutely. And we mentioned earlier the human powered activity, which I think is very important. We noticed that our guests would feel a sense of accomplishment afterwards, after using their body to propel them to the islands and back. So you have the human powered activity, and then you have the cleanup, and those two things I think create, like you said, a very unique, good sense of purpose and accomplishment. One of our driving goals for what we show people on our experiences is to show them something that they wouldn't have seen if they hadn't met us, or if they didn't come see a local's perspective. And so that's kind of a big part. It's a big part of what we try to show people, is that sense of accomplishment and purpose. Exactly.
And yeah, you nailed it, man. So can a guest come on a tour and go do a cleanup with you guys?
So we
That's part of
are
one of the experiences.
well we are, on each tour, if we ever notice trash things, of course we will pick it up, and we'll notice some guests just pick it up without anything being mentioned. We have tours that are more about nature and the experience that we provide. And then we're also working on what we want to call environmentally proactive tourism. So those are basically ecotour. It's a form of ecotourism, but basically just getting tourists involved in the cleanup as well, because you want to go somewhere and you want to leave it better than when you came, rather than the opposite. And so yes, people can get involved. Of course, on our tours we do a little bit, but they can also get involved in a full on island cleanup or a canal cleanup, which we focus a lot more on the actual cleanup.
That's amazing. I love it. Thanks, Brooke, for mentioning the human powered aspect of it, because that sense of accomplishment, achievement, and we still get it. I get it when you paddle across a giant lake and you look back, you're like, I just did that all on my own. Or
Yeah.
you bike 20 miles or whatever it is. You're like,
Oh yeah.
we're so much more capable. Our bodies are so much more capable than we push them to be. And that's why we're never going to get away from human powered experiences, because we want people to feel that sense of accomplishment, that confidence, because that stays with you, and that's something that we all need right now too, as a country, as a society. 70% of the US is overweight or obese, and it's not from a lack of gyms being around or a lack of fitness books or videos or diet books being around, because that's all there. It's just really believing in our physical ability, and obviously on the diet side, that's a whole different topic. But yeah, man, getting after uh, experiences that you can do with your own body is amazing.
True. Like taking a break from sitting to stand up, or choosing the stairs instead of the elevator. Maybe not trying to park so close every time to the store. Not worrying about that extra couple steps that you're gonna take. And then when you're traveling, finding an experience that actually uses your body. Those are some of the easiest, most effective ways that you can just stay active and have a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, man. You just we can hopefully get just a few more people doing a few more things, and that one trip turns into a lifestyle activity that they end up going to. Someone goes buys a paddleboard, and that becomes a weekend activity that it's just so much more um, fun than hitting the gym, to me.
There you go.
And that has its own value. That has its own purpose. You know, strengthening your bones and building muscle. But I feel like there's a lot that most people can do, and that is actually fun and enjoyable. And you're burning calories instead of feeling like this grind and sitting on a treadmill or standing on a treadmill or a Peloton bike. Yeah, hopefully, as
Exactly.
more people look to get outdoors, they find activities like kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding and biking to be more fun.
Yeah, and like even on a personal note, when now we have a couple of workers and stuff, but when we were first starting, um, we were out there every day, basically doing guided tours with people. So we were paddling, a lot, sometimes twice a day during tours. And you end up unknowingly having some really good looking arms. I'm like, wow, look at my guns. Like, you're
You got an
getting like
accidental six
in
pack.
shape. Exactly. And not even realizing it. But yeah, I just love it overall. It's just it's a good thing for everybody.
I think both of us have toughened up so much
Oh
since
yeah,
we started this.
exactly. On a personal note, like he's saying, I mean, it's just so funny because you start something for a passion or because you have a vision, and then all of these sort of like side effects start coming up. You're like, wow, I can build this. I'm I can handle this. I can think of, lift this much. I can think on my toes. I can crisis manage. You know what I mean? Like all of this stuff from being outdoors and having to rely on yourself just starts to like make you, what do they say, rewild you a little bit. I'm sure we have a lot more to work on, but I'm just saying in general, just you learn a lot more about yourself.
Another interesting thing about the way we have set up our experiences is that a lot of times people will take a boat out with their friends, but our experiences mix people together. So I think one of my favorite things about like you said, when we were just every day like multiple on our own, one of my favorite things looking back has always been just meeting a subject group of people from all over the world at each time, and you can just ask them questions. You guys can discuss all kinds of things on your mind, get to know new people. That's always been another cool thing that you might not get on a Peloton bike, like you said.
Yeah, you bring people together and doing a shared experience, and that at least is one thing that everyone has in common. All of a sudden, doesn't matter what walk of life they're coming from, and to leave with that like shared sense of adventure and accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And Santi, something you were saying was really interesting, and how it's made you more resilient and tougher mentally. And I feel the same way. Is the more time I spend in nature doing whatever activities I'm doing, I think a lot of it comes from embracing not having control, right? But still have to do something. I'm sure you're paddling back sometimes and you got a headwind. You're like, I got to get back. You just got to paddle through it. Right? And then
also the weather being so unpredictable here in Miami, we've been caught in, even though it might be a short distance from the shore to one of the islands, that we do our tours, that we take our tours to. The downpour, the rain can come very quickly, and it's pretty terrifying thing. Now we're used to it, but when you're first starting, you're surrounded by, baseball size, it seems, raindrops just falling all around you, and in your head, you're like, oh, I'm responsible for these people. Why didn't I leave sooner? I should have known this. And, you start to kind of critique yourself and get better and better each time. But you're out of control. Nature, she does what she does, and you just gotta grow with the punches, be strong enough to handle it, and do better next time.
And out of your control, like, but at the same time, no is not really an option. So you get to really see how your body kicks into gear and takes you through whatever you have to do to get, to overcome nature, which kind of like we mentioned before, makes you just, you just really trust in your body. You know what it's capable of.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. It's so nice to be able to share that um, that experience with someone else. And I'm sure all of our outfitters and anyone that's been in nature enough or been outdoors enough has felt these things. And I guess what we're all trying to get to is there's so much more value in doing these outdoor recreation activities that is more than just physical, and it's more than just the activity itself. It stays with you even when you're done. So I could talk to you guys forever, but I think we're just going to have to come down and take a trip with you and get to meet you guys. It's been a pleasure having you guys on. So tell us really quick, like where in Miami you're located. If somebody's looking to book an adventure, what time of day do you start? What's the last tour that you do? Just some of the logistical things.
Absolutely. We look up Clear View Kayak, Instagram and website is Clear View Lifestyle. We're on 24th and Collins in Miami Beach. We launched into Indian Creek Canal, and we have also the Collins Canal right there. We do rentals from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and experiences. We have the night experience running at 8 p.m. And these are Thursday through Sunday.
Amazing. And given all your hospitality experience, I'm sure you can hook people up with some recommendations and the great outdoor parties or parties to go to or places to visit too. So I'm sure
Absolutely.
you'll have
Local cuisine, everything.
a lot of concierge experience. Well, thank you guys again for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You can find Clear View Kayaks on Trip Outside or check them out on their social. Shoot them a note. Let them know if you found this podcast helpful. And most of all, share it with someone or go visit them. And let us know if you do. Thanks again for listening to today's episode. Hey there, adventure seekers. Thank you for listening to another episode of Adventure Travel with Trip Outside. If you enjoyed the conversation, please share it with your friends, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to stay up to date on where we travel to next. If you felt inspired to travel, go to tripoutside.com. It's the fastest way to book outdoor adventures all in one place.